Our lives circulate around food. Think about your day so far. How many food decisions have you made? Probably a lot, right? What am I eating? When am I eating it? Where am I eating it? What am I eating later? What am I going to make for dinner? Our lives revolve around food so much. And yeah, as I said before, nutrition is confusing. Now more than ever, we have all these different labels on all of our products, and we're like, okay, it says heart healthy. Is it really heart healthy? And a lot of these claims, like for example, natural, have zero backing behind them. It's just a word. There's no requirement to be able to put natural on a product. So I could put natural on something like on a thing of Play-Doh, like it doesn't have any requirement. So I think that's important for people to know, because they put these trigger words on products to draw us in and think, oh, that's healthy, that's better for me. When in reality, it might not be, it may or may not be. So today we're going to talk about how to create a healthy, balanced plate, some macronutrients, some meal prep tips and tricks, healthy snacks, and a little bit about navigating healthy eating at work. So I would love to hear from any of you guys. What does healthy eating mean to you? Anyone? Because I know we all have our own idea of this.
I just try to hit the food groups every day.
Yeah.
That's how I try to balance it out as best as I can.
Okay, love that. Yeah. Anyone else? Doug, I saw your speaker go off.
Yep. Sorry, I had a double mute going on there. Trying to keep away from processed food as much as possible.
That's a good one. Yeah, love that. And you know, another thing I hear is like eating different colored foods. That's a big one, and I'm going to go into that next. And this is just something that I think is really important. The secret to healthy eating is recognizing that our health and weight is not determined by one meal or one food, but instead influenced by long-term eating patterns. And I said that in my video that I sent out about the challenge this month. You know, I think, and I see it as a coach, I see so many people get tied up in like, oh, I'm eating healthy, I have to be perfectly healthy, I have to have all these perfect meals. In reality, realistically, if you think you're going to be perfect all the time, you're setting yourself up for failure. We're all humans. You know, it's about balance and trying to make, you know, healthy choices here and there, but also having, you know, freedom to enjoy yourself. And, you know, that's where the dieting thing comes in. I have a couple people in the waiting room. That's where the dieting thing comes in. Diets don't work. We know this. Research has proven diets don't work. And this little cycle here in the corner is exactly why. When we diet, we restrict ourselves, we deprive ourselves, we crave, we give in, we guilt. So then we feel bad about ourselves, and then we try to go back and do it again, right? So it never works out. So it's really important just to try to make, you know, nutritious and nourishing choices bite by bite, rather than entire meals or entire days or entire months or years or whatever. So the three components to nourishing meals that I would say are your micronutrients, your macronutrients, and your fiber. So when Jen said, I like to try to include different food groups, that's kind of what your macronutrients are, your proteins, your fats, your carbs. And your micronutrients are your vitamins and your minerals and those phytochemicals that are in the different foods. And then of course, fiber. We'll go into that last. So what are micronutrients? I'm not going to get super sciencey on you guys, don't worry. But your micronutrients are, you know, what you take in your multivitamin, A, B, C, D, and your minerals like sodium, magnesium, potassium. So your body uses these for a ton of different things. And low levels do have, you know, they do affect things like poor digestion, thyroid problems, mental impairment. And I have a lot of people that say, I just take a multivitamin, and that's great. I absolutely encourage you to take a multivitamin if you feel like you're not getting enough fruits and vegetables. But I don't want to encourage that in lieu of that, meaning, you know, when you take a multivitamin, you're not getting the same phytochemicals and benefits that you're getting from those foods directly. So we always want to have a food first approach when it comes to our nutrition. And, you know, something I hear a lot when people go on diets is a calorie is a calorie. So I'm eating 1,200 calories a day. I'm losing weight. What difference does it make? Wrong. A calorie is not a calorie because, you know, maybe you're eating 1,200 calories a day of soda pop, but then you're missing out on all these vitamins and minerals. And then you're going to have all of these other health complications as a result of not getting these healthy vitamins and minerals from a variety of different foods. So this is why it's really important to try to get as many different colors as you can in your days. You know, I know that's not easy, but just a little like maybe micro goal for yourself, trying to add more color to your diet. You know, carrots have carotene, helps with your vision. So like, for example, if you're having issues with night vision, it might be because you're nutrient deficient. And same with like magnesium is a big one that probably 80% of adults are magnesium deficient, and that affects your ability to handle stress. It affects your blood sugar levels, energy levels, so much your blood pressure. So these are all really important to keep in mind, but I understand that, you know, no one expects you guys to know what foods have vitamin A and B and C and all that jazz. So we have our macronutrients and our micronutrients, like I just said. So I'm going to go into the macronutrients next. That's your protein, lipids, and carbohydrates. So right now I'm kind of just going over the basics for you guys, and then I'm going to talk about how to build a healthy plate. So I feel like I kind of had to go over this little tidbit of nutrition 101 to make sure everyone understands where we're going with this. So protein, fat, carbohydrates. What a lot of people don't know is that fat is 9 calories per gram. So for example, those almonds, that's why you have that teeny little handful and it's like 200 calories. It's because they're more calories per gram, physical gram weight of food in comparison to protein or carbohydrates. So this is your dietary makeup below about how much of your calories per day should be made up of these. So for some people that I work with, I do calculate their macros for them, and I'm happy to do that for any of you guys if you're interested. So, you know, 20 to 40% of your calories should be protein. So what that means is for most people, it's somewhere between, they should be eating somewhere between 80 and 200 grams of protein a day, depending on their body size. And these all have really important benefits. And this is something that, once again, gets kind of left behind when people are dieting and just kind of eating whatever, but in a calorie deficit. When you're not eating adequate protein, but you're trying to lose weight, your body's going to lose more muscle mass and therefore come to a set point and no longer like kind of like a plateau before sooner, because when you have less muscle mass, your metabolism slows, right? So that's why it's really important, especially if you're someone who's, regardless of who you are, 80, 90% of people I work with are not eating enough protein. You might think you are, but you're probably not. Eating adequate protein is especially important if you're trying to lose weight. But overall, just as an adult after the age of 30, we're losing muscle mass more and more each year. So it's really important even just to maintain what you already have. This is a big reason why I think a lot of adults say like my metabolism is getting slower as I get older. Part of that is you're not moving as much because, you know, we sit at desks all day or whatever. But also because you've probably lost some muscle mass because you're not eating enough to maintain it. You're not exercising enough to maintain it. And one other thing about protein, because it's my favorite macronutrient, is that you do want to spread it out throughout your day. So your body can only absorb about 25 to 30 grams in one sitting. So this is why it's really actually good to eat more like 3 to 5 meals a day, you know, with those snacks in between, rather than just like 1 or 2 big, huge meals. Because if you eat that one huge meal with 80 grams of protein, guess what? Like 30 to 40 of the grams of that protein is just getting stored because your body's not able to absorb it and process it correctly. Fats, these got a bad rap if you're maybe a little bit older. These got a bad rap in like the 70s and 80s. We love fat now though. Fat is really good for you. It's important for your hormones, especially as a female. I put this range here, 20 to 35%. If you're ever cutting calories, especially as a female, never go below 20% of your calories from fat because it will impact your hormones. So we don't want that. And also fat is necessary for us to absorb vitamins. A, D, E, K, all those vitamins are fat soluble vitamins. So if you today were just nixing fat, only eating, I don't know, lean proteins and like broccoli, you would have a lot of hormone function disruptions and lack of vitamin absorption. You'd have some deficiencies. So I think that's really important to know. And then of course, last, the one that's been demonized most recently is carbohydrates. You know, a lot of people are eating carbohydrates now with the keto diet and whatnot. But I think it's important to say that this is our body's main source of energy. It's our body's preferred source of energy. And we should be eating carbohydrates, especially if you're exercising, if you're working at the CDC and you're moving around, or any of our warehouses. Some of you guys get so many steps a day and you're so active, you need these carbohydrates to fuel your day. As you can see on this chart over to the right, that's the standard American diet, what most of our diets are made up of, and most of us are overeating carbohydrates. So that's why we have a lot of people ending up with diabetes and high blood sugars, and as a result, heart disease, and, you know, all the other things. So that's just something to be aware of. You know, I notice it with myself. If I don't, you know, if I'm not paying attention throughout the day and I just don't eat enough carbohydrates and I go to the gym and I run the next day, it's like my legs, like it's like picking up like bricks or something. Like I just feel like it's so much harder for my body to harness that same amount of energy because I haven't eaten adequate carbohydrates. So I think that's important to know, because so many people are focused on not eating carbohydrates, but potentially adding more could allow you to have better activity levels. So just keep that in mind. This is very basic information. So obviously, you know, everyone has their own needs based on their health. But, you know, I think this is all important to know. All right. So these are just a little examples of some foods that fall into all those categories. As you can see, some foods are a little bit of both. I know that gets confusing. So like beans, for example, black beans, they're a good source of protein, but they're also a good source of carbohydrates, a complex carbohydrate too, because they're high in fiber. So we've got some fats, some proteins. So I don't know if you guys knew this, that they could be multiples, but yeah, those are our macronutrients: proteins, fats, and carbs. And if anyone has any questions, just like feel free to speak up. I know I'm talking fast, but I want to try and stay on track time-wise for you guys. So trying to be good today. So this is our balance plate. So we just talked about our macros. We talked about, you know, what amounts we need. This is kind of how to realistically put it on your plate when you sit down to dinner, right? Because it's easy to say, eat protein, eat carbs, whatever, but how the heck do I do this? This is how. And this is a very simplified way to say it. Make half your plates fruits and vegetables, 1/4 plate carbohydrates, and 1/4 plate protein. And then you want to have 1 to 2 tablespoons of healthy fats at your meals. So another really good way to measure this is, so fist size for protein, palm size for protein, hand size for carb, fat, or like thumbnail for fat. Sorry, I said that confusingly. You get the picture. So yeah, that's like in the corner over there. So this is how to build a healthy plate. And maybe it will look like this, but maybe it won't. You know, it can look a lot of different ways. It could be a salad, it could be an omelet. You know, the reality is we're just trying to fit in those major food groups in each meal. And, you know, I think it's not just about like nourishing when I say that, it's about feeling satisfied. So what I said before, a lot of people don't eat enough protein. What happens then? They're not eating enough protein on their plate. Guess what? They're starving again in an hour, or they're binge eating later because they haven't gotten the needs that their body needs. So it's not just about like trying to eat healthy, it's about feeling nourished and satisfied. So maybe when you sit down and you eat a big plate of just pasta with marinara, that's why you don't feel satisfied, or that's why you're hungry again in 2 hours, because you didn't have any protein and you didn't have any veggies. The veggies, the fiber fill you up, the protein, it fills you up. You're just getting carbohydrates, which if you looked at that chart I had before, they don't provide satiety, which proteins and fats do. Proteins and fats make you feel full, carbs do not. So something to keep in mind. All right, so, to give you an idea, if you're sitting down building a meal for your day, here's your categories. Here's some ideas of how you can build it. Here's your proteins: chicken, tofu, eggs, sausage, Greek yogurt. These are just some proteins, some carbohydrates, some fats, and then some fruits and veggies to build your plate based on that plate method. So down here in the example below, we've got Greek yogurt for their protein. We've got some pancakes for the grains, and then some strawberries for the fruit. Or the next one, it looks like a tortilla, turkey, some veggies and orange slices, and then chicken, broccoli, rice, and fruit. So I hope what you guys see when you look at this, what I see is that it's so simple. Like, it's not fancy. It's not complex. We're not counting things. Like, I feel like that's what's happened with nutrition, is like, we're like using these like strips to test our ketone levels, and we're counting our carbohydrates. And it's just so overly complex when it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be at all. So here's some other examples of ways you could build a plate using the plate method. This one in the middle, it's a salad. It's still following that basic setup, but it's the veggies are the base. So here's some more examples. And then here's another one. So that's just a good way to build. And then the last very important part about building a nourishing meal, like I said before, is fiber. So I'm sure if you're over the age of like 35, you've probably heard this word, because it's very important to your digestion, especially as you get older. I worked in a nursing home. Almost every single one of them was on a laxative, because as you get older, your digestive system ages with you. So we don't process food as well as we get older. That's normal. But regardless of your age, fiber is super important, and it will help not only digestion, but your blood sugar levels, your cholesterol levels, so much more. So the RDA, the recommended intake for women, is 25 grams a day and 38 grams for men. You could use an app like MyFitnessPal to track that, but the best thing I would say is just read your labels and try to find foods that have higher fiber in them. So if you're looking at, the bread in the bread aisle, and you see this one and it's got 5 grams per slice and this one's got 2, go for that higher fiber option so that you can try and reach that RDA. As it says here, 10% of our population is estimated to actually meet that RDA. Oops, didn't mean to change the slide. So most people aren't getting that much. And another thing is, similar to the multivitamin, I want to make sure no one's in my waiting room. No, okay. There are supplements you can take. Great. There we go. There are supplements you can take, but once again, they don't have the same health benefits. They're not going to have, so usually the supplements like Metamucil or whatever, psyllium husk fiber, they're usually better for digestion, but you're not getting the benefits for like the blood sugar and the cholesterol and whatnot when you take those. So can you take them? Yeah, but it's kind of a cop out. You're not getting the same benefits. The real reason why we have this recommendation, 25 grams for women, 38 grams for men, is because of those other associated benefits. If you're eating a high fiber diet, you're probably choosing whole grains over white grains. You're probably eating a lot more produce, all these other things that have, a myriad of other health benefits. And that's why they have been shown to have all these positive benefits: the lower blood sugar, risk of diabetes, colon cancer, stroke, yada, yada, yada. So as you can see over here on the left, here are some sources: whole grains, fruits, veggies, beans, peas, legumes, basically like that, like leafy, rough stuff, like that you assume when you eat it. You're like, okay, that probably has more fiber. This stuff over here, like the skin on your potatoes, don't throw it away, you guys. That's where the fiber's at. So, and potatoes are a good source of fiber if you're eating the skin. So potatoes are not demonized in this Zoom call, okay? So here is how you calculate your net carbs. I just want to throw this in here. Going off on a little tangent over here, but I just think this is the coolest thing ever, especially if you're watching your blood sugar, you're diabetic, or anyone, if you're watching your carb intake, know that fiber is not absorbed. It kind of just passes right through us. So guess what? You get to calculate those grams of carbohydrates out when you're calculating your carb intake. So if your product here has 19 grams of carbohydrates, as you see on the label, and it's got 15 grams of fiber, the net carb is 4. So that's really how many carbohydrates your body is absorbing in that setting. And it's also great to know if you're someone who is exercising and active and wants to ensure that you're eating adequate carbohydrates. This is important to know too, because only 4 grams of those carbohydrates are really going to be processed for energy for your body. All right, on to meal prep. Let's do it. So planning, purchasing, and preparing. Why should we meal prep? Because it's awesome. No, I'm just kidding. It's ideal for people who are always on the go. And I think that's literally everyone now. Like, I feel like everyone on earth is just like always pressed for time. I say that for myself. And like, I don't even have kids and I have no time. So I don't even know how people with kids find time for anything to breathe. So, having pre-prepared meals not only saves you time, but money. You're going to have less waste. And it can also obviously help you achieve your nutrition goals when you have like pre-portioned healthy options accessible. And you'll be less likely to reach for convenience items, whether you don't have a lunch, so you go out to lunch, then you're spending money and you're probably not picking the healthiest option. So then you're not hitting your goals. So, it really just sets you up for success. I talk about this all the time. What are you doing to set yourself up for success? This is one way to do it. Prep, so that it's just easy peasy, baby. We love that. And I think it's important to know, I feel like everyone thinks of meal prep like that picture back there where like it's the little set tubs, but there's a lot of different types of meal prep. And, you need to find the one that works best for you because everyone has different lifestyles. There's so many different ways you can do this. So, you can make meals ahead of time. So maybe you make a big pot of like pasta with meat sauce and veggies and stuff in there, and you just keep it in the fridge and then you like dish some of that out for dinner every day. That's what a make ahead meal is. Batch cooking. This is like for the people that really are into like freezer meals, especially. Batch cooking is awesome. You're making a ton of something and you're usually freezing it and eating it either this week or later on. Maybe you have a busy time in your life coming up, so you freeze it so that next week you'll be set, whatever. And then individually portioned meals. That's what you're thinking of when you see those little Tupperware guys. Those are individually portioned. So, you get some really nice Tupperware, set those out and have it ready to grab and go. Those are especially really nice for lunches or breakfast. If you're someone that's tempted to grab, drive-through breakfast. And then last is ready to cook ingredients. This is really the type of meal prep I do the most, where either I'm like getting my grapes when I come home from the grocery store and washing them and putting them in a Tupperware so it's easy to grab and eat and I'm more likely and tempted to want to eat them over other things. Or I'll get like vegetables that are already chopped up. There's no shame in being lazy here. There is not. If you want to get your veggies already chopped up, might cost a little bit more, but if it's going to help you be more successful, do it. Like there is absolutely no shame in that. Whatever works the best for you. So, look around at your grocery stores. If you work with me, if you know me, I'm obsessed with Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's. And it's because they have such good, like pre-chopped veggies, salad kits, like stuff like that are just so easy to grab and go. So I don't have to take any time to do anything. And I love that. So these are your options. How do you plan a meal? All right. Or how do you meal prep? Know what you want to prepare and how you want to prepare it. So what are you making? Go over to Pinterest, find some recipes, whatever you want to prepare, and whatever method you're using, whether you're doing the individual meals or you're doing the batch cooking, figure that out. Pick the right number of meals. This is really important because I think when people think of meal prepping, they think like breakfast, lunch, dinner, like times 7 days a week. And that's usually just way too much for most people. You'll either get burned out on the food you're eating or it's too time consuming. And then you're like, I'm never doing this again. So pick the right number of meals. Maybe you're just starting with 2 or 3 meals for the first time in a week. If I make meal plans for people, which is something that I also do, usually like if I'm doing a week, I'm usually repeating the same dinner 2 to 3 nights in a week, and same with lunches, because like it's just a lot to expect people to cook that much or prep that much or even cook that frequently, with how busy everyone is. So, plan what you're going to make and then know what you already have. So we're not buying extra stuff. and make a list, right? Go to the store with your list so that you can be successful. So let's do it right now. Think in your head. You don't have to say it out loud. You know, two dinners and 2 lunches that you could prep right now so that you could be successful next week, you know? So start with that protein, whether you have a specific recipe in mind or you just want to kind of use that plate method to build. Start with a protein. Okay, me, chicken, add a grain, brown rice, add a fruit and veggie. Okay, let's see, what do I have in my fridge? I have some salad. So I think it's going to be a chicken salad, and then stretch it. So, you know, whatever you're making, enough for multiple days. So it's really that simple. And these are some examples of like my favorite type of foods to meal prep. The first one is like a taco bowl. It's like the easiest thing ever. Like it's such an easy go-to. And I think that's important too when meal prepping, is not getting too fancy, not like trying to do the most intense recipes, because once again, overwhelming, too much. It's going to turn you away from the whole process. Do things that you know how to cook that are simple or like your favorite go-to. So for me, taco bowl with either chicken or ground turkey is like such an easy thing to do. Maybe if you've got white rice, maybe you've got cauliflower rice. This next one is like a Thai peanut bowl. It looks really fancy, but it's not. It's literally just like chicken, rice, some sort of veggies. I usually do like bell peppers. And then I make a peanut sauce, which is like peanut butter, soy sauce, rice vinegar, sesame oil. That's pretty much it. Garlic. So then you have like a little sauce to go on there. This third one is egg roll in a bowl. If you haven't tried that recipe, you should. It's the best. And then like this last one's spaghetti squash with some meatballs. So, you know, just some ideas, like some of my favorite go-tos for meal prep, but obviously you guys all have your own. Does anyone have a recipe that they like to meal prep, or like a go-to that they really enjoy? Anyone?
Tacos is a good one. I like to spice it up with like those mini bags of Doritos.
Walking taco.
Like a walking taco, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I feel like taco bowls are just like tried and true. All right, purchasing. Like I said before, bring a list and stick to it, and do not go grocery shopping hungry. If you've gone grocery shopping hungry, you know, you end up with every snack in the store in your cart, and then you get home and you're like, what did I do? Like, this was a bad decision. So don't go grocery shopping hungry. Come with your list. And, you know, even just take it one step further. If you're someone who, when you go to the store and you find yourself just throwing random crap in your cart, maybe use one of the grocery delivery apps or pickups. A lot of grocery stores have free grocery pickup now, like Target, I can think of off the top of my head. For example, you order it all online, you pull up, they put it in your car. So you're only getting what you need. Saves you time because you don't have to go shop for it. And for that one, at least it's free. There's a couple other services. Shipped is one. Instacart is another, where you can get the groceries delivered. If you're someone who's just like, I don't have time to grocery shop, whatever. And then I just was putting a point down here, just cost saving. You know, you can be aware of the unit prices if you are looking to, you know, stretch that coin. And this is a really good example of something I would use to plan meals. So maybe I'll write like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thai chicken bowls for lunch. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, egg roll in a bowl for dinner, and breakfast. Maybe I'm having like smoothies that day. So I'll write all the ingredients over here so I know what I need. And usually what I do is I write them all over there, and then I cross out anything I already have. So I know I'm like good. Because if I don't do that, if you don't check your cabinet, that's how you end up with like 15 cans of black beans, you know, like you just end up with all this extra stuff you don't need. And you spend more money. So just a couple do's and don'ts. Try to dedicate just like one set day to meal prepping or planning and add it to your calendar. You know, realistically, yes, we're all busy, but it's all about prioritizing. If you want to make it happen, you absolutely can, but you're going to have to adjust some things. Okay. Maybe you're not going out to dinner with your friends on this day because, you know, you need that time to do laundry so that you can do this meal prep on Sunday, something like that. You know, you just have to move things around to make it work. And like I said, you know, you don't need a whole day to meal prep. And that's, I hope what you can get out of this presentation is that it shouldn't be that time consuming. It's really about saving time because you're doing all at once, pre-planned, pre-prepared so that it's done, you're good to go for the week. So rotate 2 to 3 recipes per meal category. So not doing a million at once. Create a list, like I said before, and check what you have before you leave. So I mentioned this briefly before, don't make a million different meals unless you're someone who's super advanced. You know, I do have some friends that are like professional, like bodybuilding and NPC bikini competitors and stuff like that. But for the general population, there's no need to prep every single day, especially because you do want to have some flexibility, like I'm going to go out to dinner this day or whatever. Overcomplicating, like I said before, just finding really fancy, beautiful, gorgeous recipes that are so much work that you're never going to want to do it again. We don't want to do that. Forgetting to prioritize, you know, letting other things get in the way, and prepping things you don't like. You know, the way our bodies and our minds work is we work on a reward-based system. So the reason why people can become addicted to certain substances, it has a natural reward mechanism in our brains physiologically. So if you're prepping things that you hate and every day you're like, oh, this is awful, I hate this, that's probably not going to become a habit, a sustainable habit, because you hate it, you don't enjoy it. So why are you going to keep doing it? You know, so if you can, you know, even prepping things that maybe aren't what you would consider perfectly healthy, so that it becomes a habit and you're not going out to eat for lunch or whatever, that's fine. You know, make it work for you. All right. And these are just a couple apps you can use to help you. Grocery Pal, Coupon Sherpa, just a couple different apps that you can use to help you with meal prepping planning. And there's so many more. This is just a few that can even, and like, you don't even have to write down your grocery shopping list. There's an app that I forget which one it is, but you can put in what you need and it organizes it into the categories. Some of them you can even pull the recipe from the internet and it will put it all in there for you. Technology is amazing. So anyway, it's easier now more than ever with all this stuff. And then just like a couple tips at work, you know, skipping meals. Research has proven that when you skip meals, you end up eating more. And I see this with a lot of people. They either eat something really small, like a granola bar for breakfast, and then they don't eat it again until dinner. And it's like an endless pit because they're starving, which is reasonable. You haven't eaten all day. Your body needs fuel. And this is how people end up overeating, because they're so hungry that they're grabbing whatever they can when they get home, or they're just like snacking constantly because they're so deprived. So it's really important to have regular meals throughout the day so that you're not getting to that point of starvation. Keep it simple, snack smart. I'm going to go over some really good snack options in a minute here. You know, staying hydrated. Hydration impacts your hunger levels. If you're dehydrated, you're going to be even more hungry, and maybe you'll eat more and still be hungry because you're not hydrating. And then that also affects your brain function too, your ability to think, process everything. Hydration is so smart. Take breaks, you know, de-stress. When we're stressed, we eat more. And find some healthy options near you. I'll go over those next. So here's some grab and go options, just a couple I came up with off the top of my head. So if you guys have any tips of some really good, like healthy takeout or whatever, I would love to hear, but a couple I had in mind. Jimmy John's, they have an unwich. That's this picture up in the upper left. It's like wrapped in lettuce instead of bread. So especially like if you're diabetic, watching those carbs, really good option for you. Chipotle can be healthy, cannot be healthy. The portions are huge. So what I recommend doing is going onto their website. They have a calculator and you can add all the things you put in your bowl and see what it comes out to be. So for me, like I used to add like rice and like 2 types of beans and like all this other stuff. And I realized, you know, me personally, I have no self-control. I'm going to eat that entire bowl. So I try to make it more like calorie conscious. So I stopped getting 2 types of beans. I only get 1 type of bean, and you know, that type of thing. You can make those little swaps. Usually I say choose 1 fat. So either like guacamole, cheese, or sour cream, choose 1 just to keep the calories under control. Cause I think most people are like me. Like if we're getting Chipotle, we're probably eating the whole bowl. Subway, it has these new protein bowls. Sushi or poke, always a great option. Chick-fil-A has the grilled chicken nuggets or the grilled chicken sandwiches. Starbucks has those protein boxes with like hard-boiled eggs and stuff, and the little egg quiche bites. They're just like egg bites. You can make those at home. Really great meal prep thing for at home. but they have them at Starbucks and they're actually really good and they're high protein, low, everything else. So, and then Panera has a ton of healthy options. Does anyone have any others I'm missing? Anything you guys can think of that are good, like around your workplace or anything like that? No. Okay. And then snack ideas. So most of these are probably things you already would have thought of yourself. But I wanted to share a couple that people don't know about. These Bear Bells caramel cashew bars in the middle, my absolute favorite protein bar. Anyone who works with me, I've literally annoyed them so hard to get these because they're so good. They're high protein, they're high fiber. They literally taste like those little Debbie Star Crunch things. Like they taste like candy, but they're really great. So really good snack option. Like I said before, we're trying to have 20 to 30 grams of protein every few hours. So this is really good snack option. You know, these like meat sticks in the middle here, they're like a paleo option. So wouldn't recommend those Slim Jims. Those have a ton of crap in them, but these are just like, you know, no added sugar, just like a good high protein snack idea. Nothing against these grab and go protein shakes. Obviously some are better than others. So read your ingredients, veggies and hummus, veggies and guac, turkey rolled up with cheese. I think the main takeaway here with the snacks is keep it simple. Like I think like I see people like trying to prep all these fancy things for snacks and it's just not necessary. You've already got enough work going on with like trying to figure out your meals. I just think that the snacks should be kept really, really simple. So we're not overthinking it. This one in the middle here is smoked salmon on cucumbers. Obviously it's got some other weird stuff going on, but I think smoked salmon's a really great option, especially with cucumbers or like that laughing cow cheese is really one of my favorite snacks. So, yeah. And, you know, one plug for myself being a coach, you know, the reality is changing your habits is hard. It is hard. And that's why I'm here to do it with you because I don't want you to have to do it alone. Doing anything alone is hard. And why put yourself through that when I'm here to support you? So a healthy plate challenge begins literally tomorrow. I have the group. I'm going to be adding you all into it today. I'm going to be sharing a healthy recipe in there every day to give you guys some inspiration. We had a really great group last year. Everyone was sharing their meals. So it's really cool to see what everyone else is sharing and has. So highly recommend you join if you haven't already. And we can put what we learned today to test. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't have any, I don't have any questions, Caitlin, but it's such good information. Thank you for pulling all this together for us.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad you could join. Thanks. What time is it? Okay. I think I stated my time limit, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty proud of myself. All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, you know, via email or whatever. But that is all. Hope you enjoyed it. This is recorded, so I will be sharing it via email and I can share a copy of the presentation too if you want to go back and look at anything. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.